All right, algebra students, welcome to this video on long polynomial division. Let's start by going over some basic terms. Let's say that we're taking A and we're dividing it by B and it equals C. A is called the dividend. B is called the divisor. And C is called the quotient. Okay? So A is the dividend. The thing that A is being divided by is the divisor, and the answer is the quotient. Okay, let's see that presented in a different way. We have A over B, and that equals C. All right, so A is the dividend. B is the divisor, and C is the quotient. Finally, we've seen this going all the way back to our grade school. We have A divided by B and the quotient is C. So here, the dividend is A, the divisor, the thing that A is being divided by, is C, and the answer is the quotient. Okay, so these are the three ways you'll see division problems. Okay. Now let's take a look at this division problem. 12 divided by 4. Okay? So if we render that in the division way that we know from grade school, we'd say 12 inside, and then we put this little division symbol and we'd put a 4 outside. And you know that 4 goes into 12 3 times. You know the answer is 3. But the question you're asking yourself is, 4 times what equals 12? And the what that 4 times that you need to multiply 4 times by is 3. Okay? So we put a 3 up here, and then you multiply 3 times 4, and you put a 12 down here, and then you subtract and you get 0 as a remainder. Okay? Fair enough. Now let's complicate it a little bit. Let's take 12 divided by 4x. Well, we have 12 inside, and it's being divided by 4x on the outside. And the question is, what times 4x equals 12? And the answer is nothing. So this quotient would actually just be 4x over 12. In other words, this is fully simplified already. It's not reduced though. So we could cross out the 4's and reduce that down to x over 3. Okay, so this is the reduced form. Okay, so now we're going to get into the meat of the examples here. So let's say, for example, you're given 12x squared plus 4x plus 4. And you want to divide that by 4x. Okay? So here's how we're going to label this. This right here is, let's zoom out a little bit. This right here is the dividend. Okay? And this 4x right here, this is the divisor. That's the divisor. And so whatever the result is of this, when they're divided, when 12x squared plus 4x plus 4 is divided by 4x, that's the quotient. Okay? So now how do you do it? Well, let's go ahead and rewrite this. 12x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then you're going to put this whole expression in like a division box. Okay, like that. And then outside you'll put 4x. Remember, this is the divisor. The thing inside is the dividend. Okay, so now here's the game we're going to play. We're going to look at this 4x, and we're going to look at this first term, 12x squared. And we're going to ask ourselves, what would I need to multiply by 4x to turn it into 12x squared? Okay, well, 4x times 3x equals 12x squared. So this 3x right here is actually a part of the quotient. You take this 3x and you put it above the term that has just an x all by itself in it. Since the 3 has an x, you want to put it with the term that has an x. You want to line them up like that, okay? So we write 3x right here. The next step is to multiply the 3x by the 4x. So 3x times 4x is 12x squared. We already figured that out over here. And so what you're going to do is write 12x squared underneath its corresponding part. Now you're going to do the very important thing for long division of polynomials. Here's the rule. We're going to write the rules out here in red. You're going to draw a line. That's what we just did here. And then you're going to change the signs. Okay? Well, we already drew a line, and now we need to change the sign. It's currently positive. We're going to change it to be negative. Okay, and then you just add vertically. 12x squared plus negative 12x squared, that's 0. And what we normally do with long division of polynomials is we just cross it out. Now that that's done, just like normal division, you bring down the next term. So we'll bring down this 4x right here. And we're going to ask ourselves, what do we need to multiply by 4x to get 4x? Well, it's easier than it sounds. 4x times 1 equals 4x. So this positive 1 is actually part of our quotient. So that's a positive 1. Remember, it's a positive 1. So with its sign, you're going to put it right up here on top of the 4. Okay, so I'm going to put up here plus 1. And now I'm going to multiply this 1 times this 4x. 1 times 4x is 4x, so I'll put the 4x underneath the 4x, and now I'm going to do my two tasks. Okay, I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to change the sign of the thing I just wrote. So 4x plus negative 4x, that's 0. So remember, we just cross it out. And finally, we're going to bring down this 4. Okay, we'll put that 4 right there. Now the question is, what would I need to multiply by 4x to get 4? And the answer is nothing. There's nothing you can do. And so that becomes a remainder. And here's how you do this remainder thing. You just take this remainder value and you put it over the dividend. Remember, this is the dividend, or the divisor rather, 4 over the divisor. So this is the divisor. And so we put 4 over 4x. So here's our final quotient, all right? Here's the quotient. It is 3x plus 1 plus this remainder, 4 over 4x. Now notice we can simplify a little bit by canceling out those 4's. So our final quotient is 3x plus 1 plus 1 over x. And that is worth a red box. Okay? So that is how you do long division of polynomials, where the divisor is a monomial. This 4x is a monomial. Okay, there's only one term. Remember, one term means monomial. We'll look at an example next where we have a binomial as a divisor. Let's go over to this CUDA worksheet here and look at number 2. Here we're given 6p squared plus 4p minus 10 divided by 6p plus 10. First, let's label what things are, okay? So this is our dividend, and the thing that the dividend is being divided by, this is our divisor. Okay? So here's how we do this problem. First, we're going to write it out. Write 6p squared plus 4p minus 10, and that's being divided by 6p plus 10. So what on earth do we do here? Well, here's how you do this. You take a look at the first term of your divisor and the first term of your dividend, and you ask yourself, what would I need to multiply by 6p to turn it into 6p squared? Okay, well, over in side work, we'll take 6p and we'll think about it. What do I need to multiply by 6p to make it be 6p squared? And the answer is p. Okay, because of the product rule, 6p to the first times p to the first equals 6p to the second. 1 plus 1 is 2, 6p squared. So that means that this p to the first power is part of our quotient. Okay, now notice here that this p is a p to the first power, so we need to match it up and line it up with what we call our linear term. So things raised to the power of 1 are called linear terms. So what we're going to do is write a p right here. Okay? Now what we do next is very important that you understand. We multiply the p times this whole thing as a binomial, almost like it had parentheses around it. We'll do that in side work, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to do p, open parentheses, 6p plus 10. Well, right away you're probably thinking, okay, distribution, that's right. So p times 6p is 6p squared. P times 10 is positive 10p. Okay? Now, what you do with this is you write this right here. Okay? You're going to move this right here. Okay? So we'll just write 6p squared plus 10p. Now we're going to do our rule. Remember our rule? Draw a line and change the signs. Okay, so down here, we're going to draw a line. And then we're going to change both signs. Very important, okay? Change both signs. That means that this 6p squared becomes negative, and this positive 10p becomes negative as well. Okay, and then basically you're adding these columns here, okay, if that helps you. So 6p squared plus negative 6p squared, that cancels out. Cancels out. And now let's take a look at this. 4p plus negative 10p. Well, that is not going to cancel out. 4p plus negative 10p, if it's like 4p minus 10p, that's negative 6p. Okay, so we had a remainder there on that part. But the next step is to bring down the next term, which is negative 10. Well, now what do? Well, you just kind of wash, rinse, and repeat. Take a look at this first value and this first value here and ask yourself, what do I need to multiply by 6p to make it negative 6p? Okay, so let's go look at that. And notice you're kind of ignoring the 10 at first. So we need to multiply 6p times something, okay, that makes it turn into negative 6p. What would you have to multiply by 6p to make it turn into negative 6p? Well, the answer is negative 1. So negative 1 is actually part of our quotient. And that is going to be moved right here. Okay? So we are going to move that negative 1. We're going to put it right up here, minus 1. Okay? Notice that right now our quotient is p minus 1. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that negative 1 and multiply it by this whole thing right here as if it was in parentheses using distribution. So we'll do that in side work. We want to keep all this stuff in side work. We have negative 1, open parentheses, 6p plus 10. Okay, do a little bit of distribution. And we have negative 6p minus 10. You want to copy this and put it right beneath this right here. Okay? So we'll put here negative 6p minus 10. And now we do our rule. We draw a line and we change the signs. Okay? Memorize this rule. Draw a line, change the signs. All the signs. Remember to change both signs. Very important. So we'll draw a line. Oops. And then we'll change those signs. Okay, so now they're both positive, and you see right away that they're both going to cancel out. If you're looking at this kind of vertically, negative 6p plus 6p cancels. Negative 10 plus 10 cancels. There's no remainder, okay? It's zero remainder. So the full quotient is just p minus 1. This is the full quotient. And notice that in your answer choices, you had that as letter I. Okay, I want to show just one more, and then I'll cut you loose on this assignment. Let's look at something that might be a little more complicated. 15n squared plus 17n minus 46 divided by 5n minus 6. Okay, just real quick, this is so important. This is the dividend, and this is the divisor. In other words, this is being divided by this. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll copy it out. We can copy it out right here. We got 15 n squared plus 17n minus 46. Okay, and we'll put the division bar above it. And we're dividing by 5n minus 6. All right, so here's how you do this. You take a look at this first part here and this first part here, and you ask yourself, what would I need to multiply by 5n to make it 15n squared? Okay, so let's go off to our side work here and say, well, 5n times 3n would certainly equal 15n squared. Okay, that means that 3n is the first part of our quotient. Now, because 3n is that linear term with the n in it, we want to put it right above this 17n here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll write 3n very carefully right here. And now we will multiply 3n times 5n minus 6 as if there were parentheses around the whole binomial divisor. So over in side work, we'll do 3n, open parentheses, 5n minus 6, close parentheses. We're going to distribute. 3n times 5n is 15n squared. 3n times negative 6 is negative 18n. Now remember what you're going to do with this. You're going to take this whole thing right here and you're going to write it right here. Okay? So let's do that. We'll write 15 n squared minus 18 n. And now we're going to do our rule. Here it is. We're going to draw a line and change not just one sign, but we're going to change all the signs. We're going to change both signs. All right, so this is very, very important. So here we go. Back to our problem. We're going to draw a line. And then we're going to go through here and change all the signs. This becomes negative. This becomes positive. And then we're basically adding vertically, aren't we? So 15n squared minus 15n squared cancel. And 17n plus 18n, ooh, it got bigger. Let's add it. 7 plus 8, well, that is 15, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 35. Okay, bring down the n. Very good. And now we'll bring down the next term, which is negative 46. Okay, don't get flustered. Just ask yourself, what do I have to multiply by 5n to make 35n? Okay. Down in side work, we say, well, 5n times let's see, 5n times 7 would give me 35n, wouldn't it? Therefore, this positive 7, remember it's positive 7, is actually a part of our quotient, and it's going to go right here above that 46. Okay, so that's going to be our next step, is to just write plus 7 up here above the negative 46. And now, what you're going to do, so I'm not going to be able to erase this. I have to rewrite this. What you're going to do now is you're going to multiply this 7 times this 5n minus 6 together as if it's a binomial. It is a binomial, okay? So we'll do that over in side work. We take the 7 and we multiply it by the divisor, 5n minus 6. We're going to do a little bit of distribution here. And that becomes 35n minus 42. Okay. Now this, let's zoom out so you can see the whole thing. This right here goes right underneath this guy right here. See how it kind of lines up? Here we go. We'll zoom in a little bit on this. We'll do 35n minus 42. Now remember, draw a line and change the signs. So this becomes negative and this becomes positive. And what we're going to do is kind of vertically add here. 35n minus 35n cancels out. And then we have negative 46 plus 42. Well, let's see. Negative 46 plus 42 is basically like 46 minus 42, but it would be negative. So that's going to leave us with negative 4. Now here, that means this is the remainder. This divisor becomes the denominator of this remainder. Okay. So that's negative 4 over 5n minus 6. So this plus this is your whole quotient. So let's zoom out and write it all out. So what we're saying here is we've got 3n plus 7. And then you could say plus negative 4 over 5n minus 6, or you could just say minus 4 over 5n minus 6. Let's see if that was one of our answers. Here we go. Look at this. C matches. Okay, so this is definitely worth a red box. The red box of correctness, as one of our greatest students would say. Okay, well, I hope this has been a useful tutorial. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out and let me know. Just remember, it's basically like long division. You draw a line and you change the signs, and you make sure that you change both of your signs when you're doing your stack adding. Okay, I would just watch this video a couple of times until I had a clear understanding of just what I'm doing. Okay, and we'll bring it back here. This is long polynomial division. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.